Welcome back, everybody, to Sports Profit TV. It's been a little while, but we are back with another episode of the MLS Live podcast. We're talking quarterfinals today. It's good to be back. Obviously, we had international break. Had tons of other sports going on at the time. I didn't get too involved in international. I think Garrett dipped his toes a little bit. I think I saw that went okay for you on Twitter. But yeah, it's exciting times. We are now down to our final 8 clubs left in the MLS Cup playoffs. And we're going to get into it. Anything that we missed over the break that we need to kind of get caught up on before we jump into these, or any thoughts?
No, I mean, there's gonna be tons of news coming out now. Like teams are making their end of year roster decisions where guys aren't getting picked up. I guess one thing that stood out to me was the Crew reworked. Man, now his name just absolutely left my brain. The Columbus Crew midfielder, the legend.
Nagby.
Yes, they reworked his contract so that he can be bought down. He is currently occupying their third DP spot. So he can get bought down, which would open up a DP spot to go along with Cucho and Diego Rossi. So that is exciting.
I saw they were looking at the guy from the Belgian Super League.
Yeah, I don't think he would take a DP spot though.
Okay, but you like him?
He's 21. I think he I mean, I watch Belgian. The Belgian league, I don't catch a lot of it, but that's where a lot of prospects do go to get their feet wet. So when you're leading chances created in that league, it's a good stat. I like where his head at is in terms of that IQ from a soccer perspective. So we'll see. I mean, if you do well in the Belgian league, you're probably going to do well in MLS. They're pretty much, I think, on par in certain aspects.
Unless you come over and call people names as soon as you get here, then it might not work out.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. Speaking of them, we don't have a lot of time to touch on it, but like Forsberg is in talks to a move to come to New York Red Bulls from RB Leipzig.
Oh wow.
Yeah, staying in the Red Bull family. So if those rumors are already breaking out, then I don't see a lot of hurdles to get that done. We'll see. Yeah, it sounds like it's a done deal that Suarez is coming to Inter Miami. I hate that move, but because Messi's there, he's going to score goals. But we'll see. So Suarez is great. Don't get me wrong. Like over the course of his career, he's might be in the conversation for top 10 striker all time. That's not an exaggeration. I just hate where he is at this point in his career, and then much like the Gareth Bale call and the Costa call with LA Galaxy, where I said these dudes are not going to work out. Overall, they didn't. Bale paid off because he scores the game-tying goal in the final, and they go to PKs and win it. So He's worth whatever you paid him, right? Because of that one goal. But the whole season he was there, I was right. It wasn't a good buy. The Suarez deal feels a lot like that to me, except that it's going to be with Messi and it's going to be fine. He's going to score goals. He's not going to win the Golden Boot or anything, but he's going to score goals.
Let me just double check with you. You're not getting any feedback from your own mic when you're talking, are you?
No, I don't hear anything.
Okay, good. Just because I'm working on a new laptop today, and I kind of had to tinker with the settings and stuff. Your volume's good. I can hear you good. I just want to make sure my mic is not picking up any of your volume. So as far as New York Red Bull, and I know we've got a hard stop today at 30 minutes, but they haven't been like a big splash team for a while. So I guess it would make sense since it's in the organization. He's already at Leipzig.
Yeah, I think Forsberg is probably their biggest signing since Thierry Henry. They just don't do that. And it's different. I think he's 32. And so I think the average starting age of their 11 this season was 26. Like they're a super young team. So it's going to bring some good leadership into that locker room. And I think he's absolutely going to help that attack. Like Red Bulls, they got chances all season long. It was finishing those chances where they just struggled mightily. So yeah, I'm interested to see. And the Red Bulls are going to look different. I think since we're just on them, I'm pretty sure Tolkien's going to move. He's going to get some European looks. There's some other guys getting looks. So that Red Bulls team is going to change a little bit. So Forsberg could be some solid leadership into that locker room.
Yeah, New York Red Bull have been the kings of chances created, expected goal for 2 full seasons now, and just hasn't worked out for them. They just haven't had finishing. But that potential move, it's not official yet. Hopefully, a sign of things to come. You know, we've talked about what is the Messi move going to mean for other teams around the league. Hopefully, you know, it's a sign of things to come that some teams that haven't made big splashes maybe starting to make some splashes.
Yeah, teams are going to have to spend. Like that's
Yeah.
what they're seeing. You're going to have to spend, but we also have to see what rule changes happen in the winter, right? Do they add a 4th DP slot, which I think they
Hope so.
almost have to. It
Yeah.
would be awesome if they added a 4th and 5th DP slot, or just something like that. But really, really take the reins off some of these teams and let them compete a little bit. Again, we talk about this, but you can look at the neighbor in Liga MX. Most Liga MX sides have 6 or 7 DP caliber players.
Price wise.
Yeah, price wise,
Yeah.
and just their street value. So yeah, it's you got to do something here to let the league grow. Like the league is in a good spot. Take the reins off a little bit and let these teams breathe a little.
Absolutely. All right. Well, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to give a quick rundown of where we are as far as look. We're in the quarterfinals, so that's 4 matches. We've got eight clubs remaining. First match is Orlando and Columbus. That's on Saturday. Then we have Cincinnati hosting Philadelphia. And then Sunday, we have Houston Dynamo hosting Sporting Kansas City. And then the late game at Lumen Field in Seattle is Seattle hosting LAFC. Let's go ahead and jump into the first game because that is a game that we're going to be involved in. And Garrett, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I'm taking the Orlando money line straight up here. I think it's like plus 125. I think it's a great line for the home team. I like this Crew side. Don't get me wrong. This Crew side is explosive. They're fun. They are a year too early. They're a year too young. And I think we saw that with the last series in Atlanta. They played Atlanta hard for both their legs at home. They go to the bins and just did not look good at all. And that's just an experience thing. That's just it is that it's a young team. I mean, this Crew team could go and compete for multiple titles here in the next couple of years. Like they just got to get a little more seasoning under their belt, but the pieces are there. But that defense is young. The goalkeeper is young. We've harped on that quite a bit this season. It is just 1 year too soon for this Crew side at least. And so I'm getting a very good Orlando City team. We talked about it. Like once the playoffs started, I was like, man, it's Orlando or Seattle. Those are the 2 teams that can really make some noise here. Orlando's got all the pieces. They can do it all. And with the Crew being on the road in a knockout match, yeah, Orlando at plus money is just a good value for me.
Yeah, I like this. I like what Orlando has done as the season has gone on. This is a team that has a really solid defensive foundation, and that's why I think this makes a really difficult matchup for Columbus because Columbus is like a spread offense. They're like, let's outscore you, right? On the road, this is going to be a different situation for them. Orlando is good defensively, and their attack has really come along as the season has come on. I'm a big fan of Oscar Pareja. Before Austin FC was a club, I was an FC Dallas fan, and Oscar Pareja was the coach in Dallas. And I thought he did a great job. I thought FC Dallas made a mistake letting him go. He's definitely better than the guy that they have there now. I'm not a fan of the current guy at Dallas, but this game though, yeah, I like it. I think plus 125. I mean, look, these 2 teams played at Orlando earlier in the year in a game that was just a total barn burner. I think it ended up 4-3 Orlando City. At one point, Columbus may have even been up 3-1 or 3-2.
Yeah, Columbus absolutely choked that game away. And that goes to the point of the experience and the age. They just could not. I mean, they should have absolutely choked that game off. and they let Orlando back in, and Orlando stole it.
They did, but at the same time, credit Orlando, and also, I mean, Columbus is not sound defensively. They haven't been sound defensively all year. We've seen that, Orlando there is it's going to be a rocking environment. It's going to be fun. They've played their best ball this year at home. So I like it. I think that previous encounter, like the underlying metrics, may have something to do with this price, because I was expecting like a plus 100. I was expecting like even money, maybe even a slight juice on the Orlando side. So I think plus 125, really nice price here. All right, on to our next one. You're also gonna have some involvement in this game, but I'm gonna have a straight play in this one. I'm gonna back the road team. If I can get this to click here. Sporting KC plus a half a goal, also known as double chance, depending on your book. We've been talking about this Dynamo team, right? Like, when do they fall off the face of the earth? When does regression hit this roster, what they have? I'm going to take a shot that it's now. I think they were very fortunate to get the draw that they had against a really banged up RSL team. They did a lot of their damage in the sweltering heat, the Houston humidity and the heat when it was 110 degrees. And I mean, that's arguably a bigger home field advantage than the altitude. I mean, it's nuts. It's nuts in Houston that time of the year. So they did a ton of their damage at home. Both of these teams kind of have taken similar paths this year. Really slow start, kind of found their identity as the year has gone on. Sporting Kansas City has more so gotten healthier than found their identity, I think. I think they kind of knew what they wanted to be, but they've gotten healthier as the year has gone on. But both teams have seen kind of a similar trajectory. And I think they match up fairly evenly. I think Sporting Kansas City has more experience. And I think that counts here in a knockout round playoff game. The experience means a lot. We just talked about it in the last game with Orlando. And I also think Sporting Kansas City has the better finishing talent. So, like, if this game's 0-0 and it's late and there are balls bouncing around in the box, give me guys like Polito and Russell and those kind of guys to get their foot on it and find it in the back of the net. I'm not a big fan of the finishing quality at the top there for Houston with Baird. He's really a winger. He's playing 9. I think Bassi for Houston he's just a penalty guy. He's like the MLS's version of Pinaldo. So, I like what Kansas City's done here. They've got some really good results. And this team has been all about defense. The last 5 games, they have not allowed more than 1 expected goal defensively, 5 straight games. So these guys are battening down the hatches. They're playing disciplined ball right now. And I like these guys to find a way to, at least keep a draw here. And you and I were talking about this before the show. Sporting Kansas City maybe advances here.
Yeah, if you had to make me pick a team to advance, it would be Sporting KC. They've been the hottest team since Leagues Cup ended, winning 8 of their 12 matches as the season went on. Those are just awesome numbers. You cannot deny Houston's home field advantage, though. Best home team in the league with a record of 11-4-2 and a plus 25 goal differential at home. What they did at home is massive. So that definitely weighs into the price here. It's why Houston is such a big favorite. But I do think KC is the better team. We'll see if that actually pans out. I like the double chance here. I even took it a step further. I'll just jump into my play here I took Sporting Kansas City plus 1.5 as a parlay piece because I believe this game is close. And so I don't think KC lose by 2 or more goals. So I'm taking the plus 1.5 spread, and I'm going to combine it with the LAFC under 3.5. LAFC road unders have been a favorite play of mine all season long. And when you look at the Sounders, they scored 41 goals in the season this year. That was tied for the worst among the top 8 teams in the Western Conference. Like, Seattle is just a defensive juggernaut, but they struggle to score. LAFC is the same way. I don't think LAFC on the road has gone over a 3.5 Well, it's only gone over 3.5 once in their last 11 road games. So in all competitions. So those you give me an under 3.5 here that I can use as a parlay piece. I love it for this matchup, especially in a knockout where things are going to be tight, right? Like no one's going to want to be the one to make that first mistake. And so I throw these both together to get a nice minus 110. Yeah, that I like this parlay a lot. I think KC Houston is the hardest game for me to judge on who comes out of that matchup, right? Like I think it's the most two even teams that are being matched up here among the quarterfinal matches. But at +1.5 in a playoff match, you gotta love that. You know all these teams are good.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like it. I mean, obviously I'm playing that one straight. +1.5, being playable for parlays is great. Something about this Seattle LAFC game, just kind of like a gut feel for me, feels like this is not a numbers play. At this point, we're in the playoffs. We do use numbers. We know how these teams look at this point in the year. We've watched them every week. I would not be surprised to see a 1-1, like to see both teams scrap their way and find the back of the net. Of course, considering, I mean, when we're in regards to this play, 1-1 is no problem. You got 2 goals to spare. The under 3.5 is easy. I'm more so just kind of talking about it from an individual game perspective, but yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Sounders really good defensively. LAFC has not been the same. Even when LAFC was playing really well, they weren't the same on the road. So. Also, these two teams know each other well. There's something about teams that see each other a lot. Interdivisional rivalry type situation here. So I really like it. Okay, let's do this. We got a couple minutes to spare. Gave out 3 show plays there. Let's talk about the last game. Just kind of like some leans here. The only game that we didn't get to is the Cincinnati Philadelphia game. We were talking about that one too. Cincinnati has got, so they've already won Supporter Shield. They had the most points in Major League Soccer. So they've won Supporter Shield historically. I don't know if it's like a lack of motivation, like, hey, we've already got a big trophy. Like now there's like kind of you don't have that killer instinct. That edge is no longer there. For some reason, it's hard to do the double, right? So, what do you think about that
one? If you had to choose a side, I think Philly comes out of it. I'll go ahead and say I think there's going to be multiple, either extra time or even penalty shootouts in these quarterfinals. I can make an argument for every matchup but Orlando really to go to penalties. Even so, I think a lot of these games are going to be close. That tells me there's value on dogs, right? On dogs to advance, there's always value there in that case. And yes, it is very difficult for Supporter Shield winners to go on and win the championship. There is a ton of info out there that shows it just doesn't happen. LAFC did it, but they are the anomaly, right? Like they're not the norm from teams to win the Supporter Shield and go on to win the championship. So I just think Cincy's a great fade target here, simply because history is really hard to repeat, and also this team hasn't looked super motivated to me in the sense of they won the Supporter Shield, and like we'll just bring up Bapenza for example. Dude's just, I don't know what's going on with him, but like he's literally just making every coach mad, from his national team coach to Pat Noonan. It's wild. He just doesn't show up on time to things, like the season's already over or something. But that's the kind of, and then I think, let me double check. I think Miazga might be suspended. Or was that last game? But either way, I can double check that. But I like Philly regardless here. Carranza is back from his hamstring injury.
Okay.
So that was going to be needed, but he is back. And yeah, it's hard to go against the Cincy team at home But there are a couple of sides who could do it, and Philly's one of those sides. And Philly hasn't looked great to end the season. It wasn't like they were just chugging through teams like they were to start the year,
Yeah.
but they have the talent to do that. Um, so and then there's just so much stuff around this Cincy team. Miazga went into the refs locker room last game, which is just a no, and
Yeah.
like he had to be escorted out by. Now it wasn't like he was forced out or anything. They said he walked out, and it was a FC Cincinnati staff member who walked him out. But like this team is getting drama at the exact wrong time of the year. You want drama,
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's not good for Cincy right now in terms of just the spotlight they're under. Like no one's talking about them being Supporter Shield winners. They're talking about their guys not having their act together. So I like Philly's chances here. If I had to say, I'm saying Orlando advances, Philly advances, KC advances, and Seattle advances. It seems wild to knock out Cincy and LAFC, but yeah, there's a reason why I haven't been on them all season, right? To win it, there was never any value on them, in my opinion, to win this thing, and I'm hoping it pans out that way.
Yeah, I think there's a real case to be made at this point, like Orlando winning it all. I'm kind of feeling that, and I know you before the playoffs started, you gave out a couple of futures that you said you felt like had value at that point in time, because obviously we had preseason futures as well, and Orlando was one of them. So it would be cool to see them do that. It feels like they're peaking at the right time. And I think this is also, obviously we feel like this is a favorable matchup for him against Columbus. So,
and you mentioned Orlando's coach. That's something to watch too, to see how far they go, because he's not under contract for next year yet. So if he were to win it, I think Orlando's going to have to give him a big payday, or a team from some other league is going to come scoop him up. He's a good coach.
He's good. He's been at Dallas, Tijuana, Colorado, and obviously Orlando. So he has never been a head coach outside of those two leagues. Maybe one of the bigger MLS clubs. But everybody's pretty much saddled up at this point, right? Everybody's got their coach.
No, there's like still 6 openings
in MLS.
Yeah. There
any bigger clubs?
Phil Neville's at Portland now.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which is just a terrible hire, man. There's no way that dude is good.
Yeah,
there's a 0 chance that dude is good, and I'll stand by that.
Yeah, I would be bummed out about that if I was a Portland fan. I feel like that is a vanilla, mediocre hire.
We'll see. Portland's going to clear up 2 DP spots for him, I think. They're not bringing back Niozga, and I think Chara is going to be moved.
Well, are there any really old players that Phil Neville played with that he can bring in and fill those DP spots with?
Maybe, but I mean, like he's not going to have any excuses to not succeed. You've got Evander there, and they are clearing DP spots to build around Evander. Like that is what they're trying to do. So he doesn't have any excuses. I just don't like a coach who comes in and when the first things he says is like, look what I had to work with in Miami. Of course I wasn't good. Like, come on, man. That is weak.
Yeah, that's not good.
And he's not wrong. That Miami roster was terrible when he started the season. But it's not a good look, man. You gotta be tougher than that.
Agreed. All right. Well, obviously happy holidays and happy Thanksgiving to everybody that's tuning in with us. High possibility that this is the last show that we do, because next round is going to be semifinals. So there will only be 2 games.
We'll see about the lines. If the lines are real good, we might have to have a little talk about it.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to it. Like if there's something great and we can get on here and chat about it and have a good time, I'm up for it. But we'll have to see what the matchups look like. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Everybody.
I'll give the people what they want. If they want us to do a show, I'm down. We can come up with props. There's lots of stuff we can do with those 2 games to make it worthwhile. So if people are like commenting saying, they need another show, I'm game.
Okay, right on. Well, yeah, just obviously everybody's out having fun on the holidays. Make sure everybody is being safe and careful out there. Everybody's got a family and kids, so there's mistakes are not worth it this time of the year. So just take care of your loved ones, and everybody have a great Thanksgiving tomorrow. And Garrett, anything?
No, guys, enjoy your time. Happy holidays. Best of luck to your bets as always, and we'll catch you next time.
See you guys next week. Maybe.